So students carefully observe here. This particular subject is object oriented programming lab, and as far as the prerequisite is concerned, so you doesn't require any prerequisite for this particular lab. And when we deal with the list of experiment for this particular subject, so that is divided in two part. One is group A, and out of this group A it contain total 5 practicals. So out of these 5 practicals we have to go for any 4 practical. And then there is a group B, so which contain a number of practicals, and out of that practical you have to perform total 7 practicals. So 7 plus 4, total 11 practicals or 11 C++ programs that should be present for this particular subject called as a object oriented programming lab. And this subject having an oral exam of 50 marks at the end of term. So you have to appear for oral exam. Oral exam means you did not go for actually running the program and showing the output. Instead of that, you have to appear, or you have to answer the questions that was asked based on number of practicals you had performed. So when we see the practical list, so every program in this particular subject is of C++ program. So first, for example, when we go for this particular program, so this C++ program is for sorting the numbers in an array using different functions like reading, displaying, sorting, and swapping. And every program in this particular list having certain objective. So this experiment number 1 having objective like it is useful for learning the concept of input output functions in C++ as well as call by reference in C++. Similarly, a particular C++ or whenever we go for object oriented programming, so there are number of concepts present in object oriented programming, like there is concept of inheritance, concept of data encapsulation, there are concept of classes, concept of constructor and destructor, then there is a concept of scope resolution operator. So number of concepts are present in C++, and all these experiments are based on one of the concept. So whenever we go for experiment number 2, so it is write a C++ program for concept of function overloading. So experiment number 3 is related to concept of classes and object. Then experiment number 4, it is related to concept of constructor and destructor. Experiment number 5 is related to overloading of unary operator for complex class. So this is related to unit number 3 of object oriented programming. Then experiment number 6 is related to this concept of again operator overloading. Experiment number 7 is related to concept of destructor and constructor. Experiment number 8 is related to copy constructor. Again, there are different types of constructor. So one of the type of constructor is copy constructor. Then experiment number 9, which is related to classes. Experiment number 10 is related to again inheritance. Experiment number 11 is related to polymorphism. Experiment number 12 is related to exception handling. And then number of experiments are present in this list, and all these experiments are regarding certain concept in object-oriented programming. So experiment number 14, it is related to use of namespace. Experiment number 15 is related to copying of content of one file into another file. So it is like an file handling. So point is that whenever we go for list of experiment for this particular subject, it all these experiments are based on certain concept in C++, that is object-oriented programming. So anyone you can tell me, we had discussed or we had studied about C language. So why we go for C++? Which are advantageous things in C++? Anyone unmute yourself and tell me which are advantageous thing in C++. Okay, everyone carefully listen here. The C is a procedure language, but whenever we go for the C++, it is an object-oriented programming language. So we are using concept like class and then derived class, and we will go for private, public. So all these are types of what we can go for. We are saying that access types like public, private, and protected. So these concepts are related to object-oriented programming, but that is not present in C++. That is not present in C. Okay, anyone you can tell me which software we had used for running program for this particular data structure?
DevC++.
Dev
Okay,
C++.
so Dev C++. As this name indicates, this particular program or this particular software can be useful for C program as well as C++ program also. So you have to download this software by searching Dev C++ in Google. Then you are having first site, that is sourceforge.net, and you have to click on that, and then here you have to download that software actually by clicking download here. And whenever you click on download and .exe file for this particular software is downloaded, and then you have to install that software. And after installing, I have already this particular software with me. So after installing, a shortcut should be created on your desktop like this. So dev C++. So in this dev C++, you can run a C program as well as you can run a C++ program. So we are using this dev C++ for running our code for this particular C language for subject data structure. So whenever, suppose I want to print hello world in C language, then how I can do that? How we start a C program? What we write first?
Include
#include
include.
We have to write like this, #include stdio.h. And then what is next? What is next thing I have to do here?
Stack includes
Okay, I have to go for declaring main function. So return type of that main function is void here. What is meaning of void? Anyone who can tell me what is meaning of void?
It returns null value.
It returns any means meaning of void is it doesn't return anything. So this program is for printing hello world. So what we use for printing in C program?
printf.
Printf. So what I write? Printf, and in this printf I have to write like this, hello world. Okay, and then semicolon. So this is program for printing hello world in C language, and I have to save this program as an extension. C extension here, it is equal to 22.c, means this indicate it is a C program. And now I have to save this, and for compilation I have to go to this execute, and under that there is a option like compile. So I have to compile, and if there are 0 errors and 0 warnings, like here there should be 0 errors and 0 warnings, then you can go for running this program. So for running again, I have to go to execute and run. So it prints like hello world, only one printf statement that is executed here. And then this is output of this particular C program. But I want to go for writing a C++ program for printing hello world. See here, this is an C++. That means I am saving this file as a 12.cpp. CPP, this indicate it is a C++. So while going for file and then save as or saving, you are having an option like save as a type. So if you want to save as a C, then what we have to do, you have to go to selecting like C source file. But I want to go for C++, so by default it is C++, and then you can save. So it is already saved, so I don't do again saving. So I want to write a program for printing hello world in C++. So what I change here?
stdio.h.
So instead of stdio.h, what I have to put here?
iostream, sir.
iostream.h. Okay. Then instead of void main, what I have to put here, or it is okay? I will void main. Okay, I will keep it as a void main. And then instead of printf, what I have to do here?
Print
See out.
So
Cout,
we
cout.
have to use C out here. You can write like this, C out, and then okay. So is it okay? This program is okay? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have to save this and I have to run this. So for running, I have to go to execute and then there is compile. But it shows certain error. So error at line number 1. So it is showing like iostream.h, no such file or directory.
Only iostream.
What I have to do here, it is only
Only iostream.
Only iostream.
only iostream. We don't using iostream.h in case of C++. So what I'm writing is only hash include iostream. So again, I have to make changes. So I have to save this. And then again, I have to execute by compiling. But still there are errors. So there are errors like
Int.
main must return integer and then cout was not declared in this scope. And then there are number of errors. So one difference when we write a program in C and program in C++. So in case of C program, it may be okay that you can go for void as a return type or integer or character. You can use anyone. But whenever we go for a C++ program, its return type is integer. Its return type is integer. So here I am writing like integer as a return type. We know that whenever we go for declaring any function, the syntax for that is return type, then name of function, and in opening and closing parenthesis, there are arguments are present. So what I am writing instead of void, I am writing integer here. And as here the return type is other than void, so what I have to do, I have to end this program with which statement I
Written
here return 0. So here this function need to be written integer value. So I'm ending this program with return 0 statement. Now it's okay, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible to you students? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir. You are audible.
okay, I have to save this again. I have to execute. So again, I am going to execute and then compiling. But still there is error. So the error is like cout was not declared in this scope. And then this may be an error that should be present over there. So how to remove this error? Any suggestion?
Using namespace.
Okay, so this answer is correct. What I have to insert here, like using namespace std. What I have to write like here, using namespace std. So anyone you can tell me what is namespace and why I am writing here like this? Why I am writing like this?
So
Using
just we are declaring the sir.
what here we are declaring?
So we are declaring sir here starting.
Everyone carefully listen here. We are writing like using namespace std. But why?
Open function.
My question is why we are writing. Okay, so answer is anyone you can tell me what is use of type def? What is use of type def? We already discussed this type def in depth.
Fine.
Okay, so everyone carefully observe, carefully listen here. Type def is useful for renaming purpose. Means you can declare a variable of that data type using type def. Like for example, we are declaring structure like type def, then struct keyword and then name of structure, and you can declare a variable of structure type. So no need to write again struct keyword whenever we are using type def. So in case of this C++, we are using this line using namespace std for declaring a scope of that particular function. We are using different functions here like cout is for printing one, for taking input and storing in the memory. We are using scanf in C, but we are using in case of C++. So for this cout and in, you needed to go declare a scope for that variable and or scope for that function here. So due to this particular line like using namespace std, that is used in case of this C++ program. So whenever we are inserting, now it is inserting that particular line. So again, I have to save this. I already saved here. So what I have to do, I have to execute this program by compiling. And now there are zero errors and zero warnings that should be present. So I have to run this program. So I am getting an output like this. Hello world. So it prints.
Sir, you are not audible.
Now, am I audible? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So point is that whenever we are going for this particular program, we are writing like this. Instead of stdio.h, we are writing iostream here. Then in this iostream, the definition of cout and scene should be present over there. And cout is useful for printing. Scene is useful for taking input from user and store in the memory, as in scanf in C language. And we are using this using namespace std for defining the scope of this cout and cin. And here return type is again other than void. It is integer. So this program end with the return zero statement. All of you are getting this program? Yes or no? All of you are getting difference between C program and C++ program? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
everyone carefully listen here. We can declare a variable. Anyone who can tell me how to declare a variable? What is syntax for variable declaration?
The data type.
Int or data type or variable.
Data type, then name of variable and semicolon. So for example, here data type is integer and name of variable is age, and then we will go for semicolon. And now I want to print message like C out, and then I am printing like enter the value of age, and then I'm using end L here. What is end L? End L. What is end L here?
End of
Next
statement.
time.
Okay,
End of
anyone who
statement
can tell me
and
what is use of slash n? What is use of slash n?
To
For
change the
going
line.
next time.
New,
next
it is
line.
act as a new line characters. Slash n is used as a new line character. Similarly, in C++, you are using end L as a new line character. And now I have to store that value. So I am writing like C in and age, and then I am printing like value of age is equal to. Okay, so here C in is useful for taking the value of age from user and store in the memory. And then the C out is useful for printing something. So I have to save this. And again, I have to execute this. And after that, I have to run. So it is asking like enter the value of age. And I am putting end L there. So it goes to the new line. Suppose that age is equal to 89. Then it prints like value of age equal to 89. So all of you are getting use of C out and C in. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so cout is useful as a printf in case of C language, and cin is used as a scanf in C language. Whenever we go for a structure or syntax for scanf, like you are using %d, that is format specifier is required to be specified in case of C language, but in C++, no need to go for format specifier. It compiler itself knows the what is the data type of that variable which we declared, and that should be stored in the memory. And cout is useful for printing something like a printf statement in C language. All of you are getting this program, or is there any doubt? Yes or no?
Sir, not up.
Okay, so we have to move further. We have to go to this experiment number 1. So this experiment number 1 is related to write a program in C++ to sort the number in an array using functions like read, display, sort, and swap. And objective of this particular program is we have to go for finding concept like input output functions in C++. So what I have to do, I have to go to folder OOP and see here. This is program for sorting of array. Anyone you can tell me which are types of sorting? Which are types of sorting?
Sir, merge sort, quick sort, heap sort, binary sort, bubble sort.
Okay, so we already discussed in data structure, like there are a number of types of sorting, like you can go for insertion, selection, bubble, then merge sort, then we will go for quick sort. There may be radix sort, shell sort, heap sort, all other types of sorting are present. But anyone who can tell me what we do in bubble sort? What we do in bubble sort? Tell me the procedure for bubble sort. What we do in bubble sort? In case of bubble sort, we have to go for comparison. So comparison between whom?
Consecutive number.
Sir, we are comparing the first number with the adjacent
Next
number.
element.
Adjacent numbers.
Okay, so this answer is
So we are comparing the first number with the adjacent number.
okay. I will tell you. So we are comparing here the first element with the next element, and when the value of first element is greater than next element, then we will go for what we will do when value of first element is greater than next element. Then we will go for
Swap.
Swapping, sir.
Swap.
Okay, we will go for swapping, and this process continue until all the array is sorted. So this is program for sorting of array. Here we are using bubble sort, and this program is for C++. We already discussed the program for bubble sort in C language in data structure, but this is for using C++. So using C++, so we have to include IOStream. Carefully observe here, not IOStream.h, it is only IOStream. This is header file for C in, C out, and other different functions. Then we are writing like using namespace std, that is useful for defining the scope of C in and C out. Like it is also useful for importing the entirety of std. Std means standard namespace into the current namespace of the program. Then we will go for different functions as said in that problem statement. For this particular experiment, we have to go for different function. Like suppose this is the read function, which is useful for reading an array. Then another function is swap, which is required for swapping. We know that it is bubble sort, so swapping is required. Then there is a function called as sort, then function for display, and then there is one more function, so that is main function or main program. So what we will do, we will start with the sort read function, and here we want to read an array. So an array is declared here like a, and this address of n. So here n is number of element present in that array. N is number of element present in an array, and here we are using we are providing this particular as argument to read function. And here we want to print message like enter the number of element present in array. So we are using cout here, and the variable n is assigned to that, and then we will storing that much amount of element that is equal to n. So we are writing like enter the elements, and we know that here we are going for loop. We array contain more than one element, so here we want to use a for loop. So here for loop is declared, and for storing purpose we are using scanf in C, but we are using C in case of this particular C++. So you are writing like C in and then a of I. So this is executing until n minus 1 time. So this in this particular function is useful for taking number of element in an array and storing that much amount of element in the memory. And after that we have to go for swapping. So we know that there are this is swapping logic, like temp equal to a, then a equal to b, and b equal to temp. And we are providing two numbers like a and b to this particular swap function. and this ampersand before this A and B, this indicate it is call by reference. It is call by reference. Whenever you want to go for call by value, so you just write like this int A then int B. No need to go for this ampersand. But here we know that there are two types of function call by reference and call by value. So we are using call by address or call by reference here. And now I have to sort. So for sorting, this first for loop is useful for scanning the whole array. The second for loop is useful for comparing between first element and second element. So j equal to 0, this indicate first element, and then j plus 1. So j plus 1 means next element. And what we will do here, we will comparing a of j with a of j plus 1. Means we will comparing first element with the second element. And if first element is greater than second element, then we will go for calling swap function. Means if this condition satisfy, means first element is greater than a second element, then we are going to swap function. And whenever you call this swap function, the program control goes to the definition of swap here, and the positions are swap one or exchange one, and then this process continue until you until the whole array should be scanned by using this first for loop. And now I have to display the output after sorting. So I am writing like this sorted arrays, and then I want to print the output of array. So I'm writing like C out A of I, and then I want to print more than one element. So I'm using for loop here. And finally, there is a main program like we have to call, we had written definition of all these functions like read, display, swap, but that needed to be called. So they are called under main program. So here we're declaring an array having size of 10, and n is number of element present in an array. And then I'm calling this read, sort, and display function with the help of their respective arguments. So is there any difference between C program and C++ program? We had written the C program for bubble sort also, this program for C++. So you had observed any difference here? You had observed any difference here when we compare program of C and program of C++? Anyone you can tell me, we are starting the program of C like hash include stdio.h, then we declared
line number 1, line number 2, there is a changes. Then again in line number 8, there is a changes.
okay.
Line number 9, line number 10.
Okay, it's okay. I'm telling the major difference. I am not asking about line by line difference.
No, sir, there is no major difference.
I'm asking about major difference. What is the major difference?
So there is.
Okay, I will tell you. Whenever we are going for writing a C program, then it may be a big structure like you can go for including stdio.h, then you can go for declaring functions, and then there is the main program. And after that, in main program, you declared some variables, some arrays as per requirement, and then you call that function, and then there is the end of main program. But after that, after ending of main program, you are writing the definition of all that functions which we had declared globally. But here in this program, we directly start with the function definition, means we yet not declared read for read function, but here we are going for writing definition of that read, then we are writing definition of swap, writing definition of sort, writing definition of display, and then after writing definition of all functions, I am going for main program, and inside main program I am calling that functions. So this is the difference in case of C program and C++ program. Point is that whenever we go for C program, they uses a top-down approach. Whenever we compare between C and C++, one of the point is C uses top-down approach, but whenever we are going for C++, it uses bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach means your program execution, means compiler starts program execution from the bottom side or from the last line of the particular program. So due to that, here main program is present at the end instead of at the starting of program. So all of you are getting difference between this top-down approach and bottom-up approach. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is again a similar program, means reading array, then swapping, and then going for bubble sort logic and displaying something and calling all these functions in the main program. So whenever we compile this, it is if there are 0 errors and warnings, we have to run this program. So it is asking like enter the number of elements present in array. We know that the maximum size of array which declared here is equal to 10, but we are going for value as a 5. So that is value of small n. So it is asking like enter the element. So what we have to go for, we have to provide here 5 unsorted elements, like suppose 89, then 58, then 41, and finally 23. And I have to go for one more. So it is equal to suppose 56. And then it displays the sorted array, like it is 23, 41, 56, 58, and 89. Means it uses bubble sort for sorting purpose. So in this way, we are getting output of this program.